Hello, everybody, once again, and welcome to another edition of the Tefillah Awareness Shiur. So, for those watching this year for the first time, so many of you have been joined lately on the WhatsApp group and also on YouTube. So, my name is R Yehudah Schwartz, and it's an honor and privilege to be now doing the Shiur for for a bunch of months already in this. And once again, as I mentioned in every Shiur, the entire tafkid of this shiur is to create the awareness and teach the halachas of tefillah, how we're supposed to daven like a mensch, by coming to shul on time, by making sure that we don't leave in the middle of davening, or shmooze during davening, or take out your phones during davening, these kind of things. Baruch Hashem, the people have been Baruch Hashem been matzliach in this. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue to strengthen this shiur through different platforms and different means. Mitzvah Hashem. Once again, ktyt.org is the place to sign up for kabolos, and basically how to also sign for kabolos and make a commitment. Go check it out, and maybe you'll be a winner of $1 million for your shul, Mitzvah Hashem. Tonight we are finishing the rest of the Orchas Yosher series on Tefillah. So this will be our last year in this area. Next week, shiur number 39, we'll start a new sefer for the second shiur of the week. What it is, stay tuned. So we're up to Mem Gimel in Orchas Yosher and Tefillah. We're going to do the rest right now. Gam mincha and marv chayim tefillah b'tzibur. The havigash to daven b'tzibur applies to also to mincha and marv. Brachas the vav and Bais Medresh. The brachas the vav and Bais. The Gemara teaches us that mincha marv chayishiva yusuf meshachos. The mincha marv are more prominent than shachos. Very shocking for many of us. That's actually shocking to hear that. We would think that go shachos in the morning, you gotta make sure you come on time. Maybe that's the most chashav tefillah. Says that's not actually not the case. That according to Zachas Brachas, and the Vav Beza mentions that Mechamav is chashav one shachos. That's what it seems like. Mem Daled. Mem Mincha Tzach Leimer. And Mincha one should say, Marda Ani Fenecho Hashem and Kav say, I'm grateful you think Hashem, my God and God, my forefathers. Shekashem, Shezi Kisani Lias Kishachama Bemezach. For just as you endowed upon me the privilege to see the sun in the east, Kachasi Kisani Lias Bemarav. So you endow upon me the privilege to see in the west. But Abba Sishlam, but Abba we say, Yes, Hashem Kalav say, maybe your will, Hashem, my God, and God, my forefathers. Kishem, she said, my father, just as it is in the dark and you move in the light, so shall again move me from darkness to light. It seems like to me that based on what I see over here, Chaim Kievsky is mentioning is we should say all these tefillahs, but as far as I'm concerned, I know someone can correct me, just let me know by private message or email at tefillahshir@gmail.com. On this too, doesn't seem like these tefillahs are a problem today. Could be yes, could be no. That I don't know. Again, this is just to create the awareness of it. But ask your local Rov in this inyan. The last one, Memvov. Bevarachas Avchesam Aleph says Kedimi Hashiche Levekanishta. Arrive early and stay late in the shul. Kehecha de Soich Chayai, so that you will have a long lifetime. Kedimi Lehayan Levayin Tefillah. Early implies coming for the davening. Chashichi Hainish says Asam Tefillah. Staying late implies not leaving until the tefillah is finished. So result in long days and years. So this is definitely something that everyone could really learn with. That we should make sure to come on time and stay until the end. Especially we're gonna actually on the story we're gonna discuss right now. We see Eile Berech Eile Besusim in Lamatzeach in Peg Yutes and Lamatzeach when I say by Asher Tzion. right? So this story is actually going to talk about that now. Once again, we read the Tefillah with meaning, the Magen on Tefillah. Once again, the Magen on Tefillah. You can find it in local stores or artschool.com. Of saintly souls and sacred words. Many years ago, Pesach Keren was at a wedding at Detroit. Mr. R Yehudah Schwartz asked him if he could come onto a quiet side room so he could share a meaningful story. He felt could be mechatzik other people. It was a story of heartbreak, insight, but that was painfully difficult for him to share. Though it had been many years since he told me the story, I think he thinks of it often as he recites the psukim he mentioned, during shachos or when we say Tehillim for a serious situation. But in Bais Medresh gives strength to all who need it. Chesky Shonig of Oak Park, Michigan, was a sweet, beloved 13-year-old boy, adored by his parents, admired by his friends, and respected by his teachers at Yeshiva Bais Yehudah in Detroit. In the winter of 1996, he came down with a lingering illness. As the doctors tried to contain his malady, they realized that he was more seriously ill than they had originally thought. One afternoon in January 1997, they arrived at the grim diagnosis. Chesky had leukemia. He had first developed it as a 19-month-old infant, but had been in remission for more than 10 years. The news was a crushing blow to the close-knit community of Detroit. And every shul in school, people said Tehillim for Chesky. The Shonigs went to all lengths to research the disease and tried every treatment available. But Chesky's condition got worse. One morning in shul, a man approached Chesky's father, Elia, and said, "Don't worry, your son will be okay. He'll be cured." "And what makes you think that so sure?" asked Elia. So the guy answered back, and at Pesach we say every morning in davening. The man replied, "Some with chariots and some with horses. But we in the name of Hashem, our God, call out." "We Jews live by a different set of rules," the man said. "Perhaps it would be hopeless for a child from other nations, but not your Chesky. As bleak as things seem now, Hashem cares for his children, and Chesky will make it." For the rest of the day, Elliot thought about that pasuk. By nightfall, he had become convinced that the man was right. Indeed, that's what the Malach meant. Jews who have different standards of faith for those in the nations of the world. Ours is a spiritual life, an exalted way of living prescribed by Hashem and revealed to us in the Torah and through the words of Chazal. And yes, not Eli Shonig was confident. His cherished Chesky would have a complete recovery. But thus, a few months later, when Chesky underwent a bone marrow transplant at a Harper Hospital in Detroit, it came as no surprise to Elia that his son was doing better than anyone else on the floor. He repeated the pasuk often during each day, convincing himself that this is only a temporary nightmare. Chesky would surely recover and grow to be a healthy adulthood, like all his friends in Oak Park. But sadly, it was not meant to be. New complications developed. On a Friday afternoon in November 1997, young Chesky showing returned to his neshama to his maker. Many hundreds attended his alvaya. The community wept as one. His life seems too short, and the eulogies, moving as they were, could do nothing to assuage the pain of Chesky's family and his close friends. A few days after the shiur, Eli remembered that verse in Tehillim, and it bothered him. Hadn't that pasuk assured him that his son would be well? What happened to the encouragement it had given him? Had he missed something? For months he was haunted by the now enigmatic pasuk. At times he was angry that it built up his hopes, but regardless of what had happened, he had to understand the pasuk. Why had he misunderstood? And then one day, during Shachas, the idea struck him. David Melech was not describing battles during the war, but rather an appraisal after the war. When a nation loses an armed conflict, it second guesses his strategies and tactics. If only we had done this, if only we had implemented different maneuvers, if only, we would have been successful. That's the meaning of a system, some with chariots and some with horses. But Jews don't look back and muse about what might have been. They understand that if a battle is lost, it has become a Shem, intended to be so. But we, in the name of Hashem, our God, continued to call out. Now, thought Elia. The next pasuk in this chapter fits perfectly. Hema kav follow. They slumped and fell because of their frustration of a false perception that things could have been different. But we arose and were invigorated. Because we Jews understand that this is the way it was meant to be. With our faith in Hashem's mercy and righteousness, we are invigorated and have the strength to continue with life. It is this sight that carries the Shonik family to this day. An extraordinary concept that should help countless others in times of grief and tragedy. Some years ago, he was asked to eulogize Rochale Newman, a precious 9-year-old girl from Lakewood. He had befriended her during the illness. He sent picture postcards a few times a week, and she in turn sent her drawings. I visited her and we spoke on the phone then, often. I sent her balloons when she was in the hospital in Minnesota, and she made me a touching video with her thankful response. And then, tragically, she passed away. At the funeral, I told the story of Chasky Shonik and the psukim that gave his parents and their family chesed. I addressed Shmuel and Chayesar Numa in their family, saying, other families will have regrets and that they don't have the right doctors. They didn't do the right treatments and were not afforded the right medications. But you're different. All of you did everything you could. You acted in the most responsible ways and took care of Rochaleo in the best way possible. Therefore, you can say the dignity. You can feel the pride and be invigorated because you don't look back. You did what you could and you accept Hashem's decree. May we all live to see the Chesed Mesim and be united once again with the cherished souls of the past. They should help and the schos of the shiur should be bench Cholim and Metav, and should be able to continue to strengthen ourselves in all the halachos of Tefillah. I have a wonderful day. All right.